The Prepped Adelaide Marathon is on again. Register now for the Prepped Marathon, Half Marathon, or the family-friendly Saucony 10K or 5K event. Seize your personal best with Prepped and get ready for the 45th Adelaide Marathon, Sunday, August 27. Register at adelaidemarathon.com.au.
That your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Undercover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking.
Welcome to episode number 299 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. We've got a big show coming at you this week. Moose and I both have race recaps. We've got Jen Gregson popping in about 25 minutes to tell us about her Sydney Harbour 10K win yesterday and a bit about her Gold Coast Marathon from a few weeks ago as well. Moose on the loose looks good. Runner news, Australian records are going down everywhere again. Big breakthroughs, 2 Diamond Leagues to talk about, all the usual segments that you know every week on this podcast. Welcome to my co-host, is up in Canberra, Bradley Croker. How are you this week?
Doing all right, Brady?
That's good. I'm glad to hear you're doing all right, Croaks, because you've been a bit quiet in the message group the last couple of days, and I was just hoping that everything was okay. What's the update?
Update is I going for surgery in 2 weeks.
Okay. Shit, that happened quick, didn't it?
Yeah, so I got a text message, when was it? I was at work last Tuesday, and it was from the, I guess, Royal Melbourne. You know how you have that like health hub thing where you have like appointments in there and stuff like that. So anyway, I had to go in and register, and then when I opened it up, there was 2 telehealth appointments for next Monday. One was with an anaesthetist, and another one was like a cardiologist review. And so I'm like, oh, okay, obviously things are starting to happen now. So I actually sent that through to Brett Coleman to say, because I was a bit confused by it. There wasn't any other information. And I'm like, does this mean I've got surgery that day? He's like, probably not. And then the next day an email came saying, you're booked in for Monday, the 7th of August, which is 2 weeks today, down in Melbourne.
Things are moving quick. That's good.
Good news.
Welcome to you as well, Moose. I didn't think we'd go straight into that, but welcome to you for episode number 299.
So, look, let's give Croaks a bit of me time. Let's let him... He's been waiting to tell us that. Didn't tell us in the message group.
Do you reckon that's why he's been quiet in the message group, Croaks?
Yeah, just hold the news off.
Well, I don't have much to give you guys, so I may as well just...
wait for the recording button to be pushed.
We're recording. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so do I.
Good podcasting from you.
Yeah, it wouldn't have got the same effect from me if I knew that already.
Yeah. So so we're going to drive down on the Sunday, and then surgery Monday. Still not exact. Like I know they're going to do an ablation, but I'm not sure if they're going to do anything else. And then go from there. So it's good that it's like it'll be 6.5 weeks from when I first got diagnosed with it to having surgery. So that's a pretty good turnaround.
Yeah, that's really good.
Very good. Jeez. What are you like on the elite athlete list or something?
Well, I don't know. Because when I had my telehealth appointment, he's like, I'm just letting you know that the normal wait time for this is currently like 18 months. And he's like, but it's not, like you're going to get in well before 18 months. And he said he thought it'd be 1 to 2 months. And so it's more like the 1 month.
That's great.
That's great news, mate.
Great news.
Yeah.
You come down to Moama on the way through to Melbourne. Stay a night here. Have a couple of beers. Come a bit inland.
No, we already got Viv's parents coming to look after the kids, so can't sort of add extra nights as a holiday.
Yeah, it would be nice. Maybe another time.
Yeah, because I don't know how long I'll be down there for. Like I'm guessing I might have to stay in one night and then maybe home the next day, depending on what they do.
So it's just like a little key. Oh no, you said go up through the groin, didn't you?
Yeah.
Through the groin.
And then when they get in there, they figure out if the defib goes in or not. Looking at it, don't they?
So they send like electrodes into the heart, and then basically send like, I guess, an electrical current through and to work out where the problem area is, and then they sort of burn off that problem area. So that's the ablation. But he did speak about, probably needing a defibrillator at some point, and I don't know whether that probably wouldn't happen in the same procedure. They'd probably schedule it for another time if that's needed.
How big is this defibrillator?
I don't know. It sits sort of underneath your collarbone, I think. I don't think it's huge.
What's it made out of?
I don't know.
Yeah, will your beep going through airport security from now on?
If they said you can't, where they have the wand, metal detector wand, they said you can't get it near that.
Well, it sets it off.
Well, I think it's not. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh shit! Yeah, like it charges it up or something.
Shouldn't laugh, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good having surgery, but it's still like, I know it's a pretty common procedure, but it's still weird to think that they're going up into your heart to do.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Like, is it safe?
Well, yeah. Like he gave me the whole, I guess, doctors have to say, look, there is a chance of, you're dying on the table. But I'm sure he just, that's just their standard sort of, because there is a risk of that. But he said, look, it's very, very low risk given your sort of background, and, they do heaps of them. So, So, like, I'm not worried about dying on the table, but it's still weird. Like, it's not like you're going in surgery on your Achilles, It's like, this is your heart.
You're not getting 9 infusion.
Yeah.
2 weeks today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I probably won't be 2 weeks. In 2 weeks on the show.
Well, you'll be here in spirit, mate. We'll be thinking of you from your hospital bed.
Reckon we could get a camera up and live stream?
Maybe.
We could commentate.
Patreon only. That kind of content we're putting behind a paywall. Moose, what have you been doing? Go through your week. I didn't want to rush it, but we do have a guest coming in 15 minutes, and I know how long your weekly recaps go.
Well, let me be quick just for you, Brady. So I ran in the morning, pretty sore, half an hour on Monday, and then I ran up half an hour from around where the new house is that we're moving to. So that was pretty fun. So I bought a new house, Bree and I, and it's around the corner from my mum, and it's around the corner from where I grew up. So it's pretty cool to be moving there in a couple of weeks, and there's very good running right close by. So we've just been sort of going up every now and then and getting our loops together, working out how far we can go and where the good 2K, 3K flat spots are.
So you just drive to this new house and then, you're not in there yet?
Nah, but it's a K from where we live now, but it's up a fuck off hill. So to get up to the top is a really big hill. It's an Anglesey hill. So you can...
I can see on your Strava here. I'm just typing it into realestate.com. The street name.
Oh, you won't find that.
I reckon I've got it. How much did it cost you?
It doesn't say it. It doesn't say that, because I've made sure it doesn't say that.
Far out, Croaks. Have a look at this one. I'm going to put it in our group chat.
Up on a hill with a view. I'm guessing, not cheap. Anglesey Heights. You pay a bit extra for that postcode, do you?
It was convenient. It was a convenient sale for me, because the lady was like 96 or something, and so the family found a home for her already. So they're like, we got to get rid of it. So I got real lucky here.
Oh no, this isn't a 96-year-old house, the one that I'm sending through, Croaks. But
nah, not a 96-year-old house. It was built in like the 60s.
Like a 96-year-old wasn't living in this one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Anyway, so that's where I've been driving to. That's a piece of shit. That's directly opposite my parents' house. That's a piece of shit, that thing. I remember they brought that house in, and it was like a fucking kit home, and the whole street was wondering what was happening. And it was this old European dude who spent all his money on the block, and then he bought in like a caravan and just lived in. Anyway.
So the one he's calling a piece of shit, Croaks. This was out for 1.4 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a piece of shit. That's why it's still up there. It's been up there for bloody ages. Anyway, let's keep going. Ran with Ali for 70 minutes on the Tuesday. Did some hill repeats, so 8 by 10 sec hill sprints at the end of the run. Then did a workout with her the next day. Well, not with her, but we did the same workout at the same location at the same time. So it was 7 minutes rest. I'll click into it. Just 7 minutes, then 2 by 3 minutes, then 4 by 90 seconds, then 6 by 45 seconds. And so the goal, like, I didn't really have paces to hit, and then I didn't have anything showing. I just went off effort. So I wanted to make each rep a bit faster or harder. So 7 minutes, I did it 3:15, 2 minutes jog, 3 minute 3:02, 3:04. That was off 90-second jog. Then 90-second reps, 2:58, 2:53, 2:57, 2:52. Took a minute jog between them. And then 45-second reps, 54, 49, 50, 50, 58, 46. This was a good workout, and this was one, like, I've been doing a lot of workouts with Ali and being at her pace, and this was sort of a good one to go off and do my own paces. And I would link back with her, sort of jog back for a little bit, meet her, start the rep. She still, in the first 2 minutes, she still thought that all the workouts that we've done together were like at my limit, and that I couldn't have gone faster if I wanted to. So she got this sort of sudden realization 2 minutes into this rep when she dropped way back, and I felt fine, that she's like, oh shit, maybe he was telling the truth all along. Because in her head, I could tell when I said, oh yeah, that wasn't too bad for me. She's like, yeah, right, that was hard for you, just as hard as it was for me. So it was nice to be able to do that to her, jog back, shuffle back to her while she's gasping for air. The total Ks, nearly 10K, 3:35 average. So the jogs were pretty slow, but the ons were on. A bit of a warm-up. I like the cut-down workouts before races. So then next day was pretty cruisy. Again, just 2 doubles, 30 minutes, 32 minutes. There, 12K. I went to the Werribee Zoo that day. That was fun. 12K with Ali again that following day, a few surges. And then race day, so Bundoora. Bundoora 10K cross country. What to say about this? Well, Croaks, you know how Brady... it's hard for me to give a race report without commenting on Brady here.
You don't have to comment on me.
I know, but I just feel
Didn't see me till 6K.
No, lies.
5K?
Anyway.
Maybe?
Fuck off. 2K? You went past me at the start of the 4K lap.
No, I went past you at the top of the hill on the second lap. Me and Apples.
No.
Yes.
Anyway.
Let's just say, Moose, Brady...
Were you delirious or something?
Brady massively talks down his fitness.
Yeah.
So then it makes your run look shit.
It's not true, because...
That is 100% what it was.
And
also, this whole thing about, I'm going to start easy, work into it, total bullshit. The bloke was with the pack that he finished with after about 3K.
I went from 42nd Croaks to 18th.
You went, the pack that you were with...
After 2K, I was in 42nd position, went out nice and easy. I was talking. No, that's not true. I went past heaps of people. It was just me and Apples. We just mowed people down the whole race.
Mate. You and Kerners, Apples,
I caught Kerners on the last lap.
Yeah, no, you. That is. Oh,
yeah.
God, you speak
and then he went past me on the downhill. He put heaps of time into me.
So what? So Moose, like, what?
So obviously triggered him here, Croaks.
You're not happy with your run. Has like toweling Ellie up in sessions given you like way too much confidence in where you think you're at?
I don't think that. I think the Sandown race gave me too much confidence. I took too much from that. I ran that really well, and I was really shocked at how fast I ran it. And then I had a really good long run last week, and I thought, geez, the hills feel fine. And then I got in this run, and I was 23rd. I wasn't unhappy with that, where I finished, there were some guys ahead of me that I've been finishing even with or beating. But again, like, people can have good days. I was disappointed with how pathetic I felt on the hills and when people ran away from me. I felt like I had no fight. I was insipid going up hills. That was the term that I felt like as I was happening. I'm like, this is terrible form going up here. I feel like I'm jogging. I'm going so slowly. I was,
Maybe it's a cross country thing.
Could be, because I also felt terrible on the grass. Like, as I was running the first lap, first K, I'm thinking, why does my form feel awful? Like, when I hit the ground, I just have, my ankle is so stiff. Like, I've got limited mobility there. I think I'm getting arthritis in them. And so I was having a lot of trouble finding the right footing. And when I was in the packs that I was with, I couldn't see the ground because it was so tight that I was struggling with that. So I really would like to see where my foot placement's going to be. And so as soon as the pack ran off, Brady, that was the kind of the pack you were in.
Yeah, 4.1K. I've got it here on my Strava.
As they ran off, I was like, okay, I can actually see the grass. Like, I felt a lot more at ease. And I was disappointed in how I ran the race, just from a performance perspective and how I felt on the hills. I thought I would be a lot stronger going up the hill, but I wasn't. And then I missed some breaks and missed some moves, and I'm not sure. I've been thinking a lot this week about performance and what determines if you're going to have a good performance or not. Because we're so invested in training philosophy and getting the physical fitness like ideal, doing all these combinations of workouts and volume, and we make sure that we're as fit as possible. And then we have obviously like the mental side of training, and we discussed that a bit. But if you rock up on the day, like, what is it that determines if you have a good day or a bad day? And say, like, in the Tour de France, listen to the Science of Sport podcast, they're talking about Pogačar in that time trial maybe being 2% off his ideal, and Jonas Vingegaard being 2% above his ideal, and it created this big gap from two riders that were very similar. But what determines whether you're going to be 2% over or 2% under? Like, do you guys have thoughts on that?
Well, part of it would be how much the race matters to you. You're probably more likely to fight a bit more if it means more.
Yeah, I felt like this one mattered to me. Like, I was nervous going in, and I'd been thinking about it all week.
I think you're being harsh on yourself. Like, 23rd with a field like that, and you would have ran through the field as well.
Well,
like, it was a pretty good run.
It's more for me, Moose, going into the race, did you think you would beat Brady, or if you...
Don't know, take me out of it.
Or how close did you think you'd get to Brady?
He thought he was going to smash me, I reckon, Croaks.
No,
I forgets how good I am on hills.
I didn't think that I would beat Brady because, I mean, he's a 2:20 guy, right? And that was only 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be better. He's beaten me for the last 3 years. Like, I can't remember coming even close to him in any race. So, like, he's above me as a runner for the last 3 years. We know that. So I wasn't expecting to beat him. He's top 10 to top 15 most rounds. So yeah, that was not an issue for me. I was just, when he went past me, I was disappointed that I was like, fuck, I can't even go with a bloke doing a progression. Like, I should be able to at least hold on here, and I couldn't, and that was what disappointed me. Yeah. Anyway.
And I was just following Craig Appleby, who was doing a similar thing. Like, he ran Gold Coast 10 seconds in front of me 3 weeks ago. And he's a smart guy.
Yeah. And
but sometimes, Moose, you just have a shit day. Like, because
I don't think it was that shit of a day though, Moose. Like, look at the names around you. You're within 30 seconds of a lot of people who are very fit doing 150k weeks.
Yeah, I would like to come out at Ballarat and race it, taking away the cross country element. Like, that would. I'm not going to do it because it'll fuck with my marathon training. But I would like to do that, just to get a really clear indication for me of where I'm at. Because if I take away the grass element, like me being uncomfortable on grass, which I really am, then I think I could be fitter, just like where the prove Sandown wasn't a fluke. That's what I would be wanting to do.
You know the guy that finished directly behind you, Moose? 3 seconds behind you. Do you know what he ran at Albert Park?
Which one?
Max,
yeah. No, I don't know what he ran.
He was just in front of me. I reckon he ran 30, 45 that day. Somewhere around there. Like, and he's been doing all the cross-country stuff. Like,
yeah, I reckon he had a stinker, though, at Bundoora. Anyway.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know.
Sandown proves you're going okay. Like, you're no worse a runner at Bundoora than you were at Sandown.
No,
so fitness is your fitness is still there.
That's what I've been thinking about since Saturday. Is like, what determines performance? Like, I clearly haven't got fitter. I've got fitter. I haven't got less fit. So, what was it about Bundoora that I couldn't perform? Was it some sort of pre-race thing? Was the nutrition not right? Did I race poorly? Is it a combination of grass and sharp hills that I can't go anaerobic like I used to up those hills and recover? Because potentially it is that. When I don't do any real anaerobic training, maybe going up those sharp hills puts me over the line and then I just can't recover from it. Maybe. I don't know. Been thinking about it a lot. That's why I want another race just to get that out of my head. But I don't think I'm going to do it until the marathon.
So you're not even going to do Ballarat at all? Or are you going to do a session?
I'll do it as a session for the team, but I've been, like today, I've got terrible DOMs and it's affecting my training again. So if I'm not able to train 3 to 4 days after the race, then to me that's problematic for the marathon. And I miss a long run, and I'm already short long runs. So for me, I'm going to go down and do that as a workout. I'm going to do a bit before and then run it as like a progression run. So still score some points for Geelong, but also get a quality workout in.
Yeah. You committed to Sydney? Entry's
in? Yeah. Entry's not in.
Contract signed?
I'm committed to Sydney, yeah. Just waiting on what floor they put me on in the race hotel.
How many weeks was it yesterday?
Don't know.
Probably should know that. Is it 8?
It's like 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's the week before Berlin, right? Yeah, so it's 8 weeks. Okay. Berlin's 9 weeks, because that's what I know. Because there's a lot of people training for like Berlin, Sydney, Melbourne right now.
Yeah, it was 8 weeks yesterday.
Plenty of time. You're in good shape.
Yeah, I'm all right with this. I'm all right with it. I just need long runs. That's the thing I'm battling with.
Hey, do you reckon you can add Jen Gregson into the conversation?
Yeah.
Yep, 7:15 we told her, so we'll see if we can get her now, and then we'll go my week and we'll jump a bit around this week, listeners. But this was the only time Jen was available, so we'll see if we can get her on the line. Got some good questions lined up, Croaks?
A few written down here.
Yeah, I don't think you've written any of them down, but we'll just read out Moose's. Should be good.
Moose forgot his long run too. I think he ran.
Ran
32k or 30k.
I was sore too. Like, had some DOMs. Then it was piss and rain. It was a shit day. Not as bad as how I felt today, but I'm going to try to do this. You guys talk. I'm going to try to work this out.
Croaks, I was going to say to you, when do you do the long run after a hard race, and when don't you? Like, when do you actually just say, hey, I need 24 hours to recover here?
I don't know. I reckon part of it's an age thing. Like, I remember when I was younger, like, you'd go and race on the Saturday and you'd still do your long run on the Sunday, but it's cruisy. Whereas, yeah, like if you're completely sore, then there's probably not much benefit. Or I'd probably cut the long run a little bit. Yeah. But I would still.
Because I think there's still benefit in doing it.
Yeah, I would still normally do a long run the day after a 10k race.
Even if it's 10k cross country?
Yeah.
Okay. Even if you're as sore as Moose is. Jane Gregson, I think we got you there. Hello.
Hi, guys.
Thanks for coming on the show. I've got a little intro here for you, so I'll just quickly read this out. The national record holder for the steeplechaser and the second fastest debut marathoner ever from Australia 3 weeks ago at the Gold Coast Marathon in 2:28.33, where she came third. Won the Sydney Harbour 10K yesterday in 32:19. Welcome back to the Inside Running Podcast.
No, thanks for having me. I'm pumped to be here. It's been a while, and I think the last time I was on here, I was talking about a very tragic time in my life. So it's good that we're here for the highs.
Well, I went back and listened to a bit of that today in prep for tonight, and you were, though, flagging the marathon journey, and that's a direction you wanted to go in. So obviously a bit's happened between then, and it's a pretty successful, we'll go to Gold Coast first before we go to Sydney Harbour. Pretty successful day 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think that's probably the thing I'm most pumped about, and just, I guess, proud is the best word, because the marathon talk that I started having post Tokyo was obviously my goal, and it's definitely what I saw myself doing. But I mean, a huge part of me did think that it was a hefty goal to take on, and I didn't even know if the biomechanics of my leg would be the same when I returned after surgery. So to actually be able to now say that, really everything went to plan and I had a great debut, it's just a huge relief. But I'm just, really proud of the last 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, we had Jess Stenson at our live show at the Gold Coast, and she kind of made that same point. Like, you haven't just come back from childbirth and a change of event, but also like the Achilles surgery. So there's been plenty of challenges to get through.
Yeah, childbirth is honestly a factor that helped me. In no way do I feel like that held me back, because it was such a huge injury, and mentally it knocked me about a lot. So to have that whole period of falling pregnant and then growing Archer, and then, having him and then enjoying motherhood for the first time, that was all this kind of side part to the whole journey that made it all so much more fun, and gave me perspective that if things didn't work out, there was always, still so much going for me in my life. So the surgeries were obviously the thing that I was most worried about with coming back. Archer was a little bonus along the way to help me stay mentally switched on and keep a really even perspective.
Yeah, but what about the balance of looking after a young child when you're trying to fit in the training? That must have thrown a huge challenge in there. That's something you didn't have to go through.
Of course. I think I was probably a little naive coming in, thinking a baby was just all fun and games. But I think the hardest part I've found is having Ryan also try to still continue being a professional athlete. It's not like I can dump Archer on him whenever I need time to put effort into my running. We kind of both really need to be selfish still with our sport. So that's been hard to balance Archer and still both put enough time into our sports. But I've had honestly one of the best nannies in the world. My mum has committed to me full time. She retired when she found out I was pregnant. She is pretty much been at our house every morning, especially for the big marathon sessions that came about. And Ryan's family, who are based in Sydney, I mean, we're here right now with them. Anytime we have a race and there's an opportunity for them to be there, they take Archer off my hands and make sure that he's looked after. So it is a balancing act, but we have such a village of people around us that have their eyes on the same goals as us and are helping us any way they can.
Yeah, great to hear.
Jen, how'd the body hold up to the marathon training, the brutality nature, or the high volume, the fatigue? How did it hold up?
Yeah, honestly, that was a huge worry. Again, going back on the thought of having 2 Achilles surgeries and then trying to take on the marathon training, I think that was the main worry I had and my coach had, and really Ryan and I voiced a lot leading into the marathon block. But the first thing we did is decide that the marathon block was going to be shorter probably than usual. But, I mean, that's not foreign to Nick's athletes. I know Izzy did a very short lead up into Melbourne. I think it's a good way to start. So we just didn't try bite off more than we could chew and made it more like an 8-week block. But I also I have accepted the fact for now that doubling is not my thing. I as much as I would love to run more, I'm limited by what my body I think will allow. And to have health for this long now, I think I would be silly to just think I'm unbreakable. So we just cut out double running. I honestly didn't cross train because I'm sure Ellie's probably voiced to you guys before, when you're breastfeeding and you're a mum for the first time, your energy levels are just zapped before a marathon block, let alone trying to pile it all in on top of high mileage. So I cut out double runs, cut out cross training, and just thought, let's make all my running sessions really quality. And really, other than the long runs getting up to 2.5 hours, that Friday session we do that can get, anywhere between 20 and 25K of hard effort, I just really tried to mentally stay focused for those big days and really look after my body the days leading in and the days leading out, and just make sure that there were no niggles that were worrying me. I mean, I had 2 scans in the build-up that were just anticipatory injuries. I was kind of just thought, that I'm a bit sore. I am a prime candidate for a bone stress injury. Let's scan it. And obviously both times they weren't anything we had to worry about, but I was always in the mindset of, let's not be silly here. Let's, be realistic that I am juggling a lot and taking on a huge goal here that many people haven't been able to pull off post-baby. And yeah, I'm so surprised that my body really did love this block. I felt great. I don't feel like I overdid it. I don't feel like I underdid it. I just felt by Gold Coast Marathon, I felt absolutely perfect, ready to go.
Hey, Jen, I know MTC, when they're training for a marathon, do sort of similar sessions. What was the chat between you and Nick in the lead up in terms of what you thought you were capable of running on the Gold Coast?
I think we were all a little bit pessimistic, only because really, like, my training, and I don't know if people say this, I don't think my training was very good, in the sense that I practiced the splits for 2:28, 2:29 for every session, but that includes, 2-minute recoveries in between the long reps. It was really hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that I could do marathon pace for all these sessions that were about 20K of work, but somehow I'm then meant to turn up and run that for 42K. That kind of scared me a little bit. And the whole time I was told from the meet director that we were going in for a 2:28 paced race, because some Japanese girls had also requested that. But about 2 days before the race, I'd got an email from the meet director saying pretty much everyone has pulled out that was in your group. It's up to you. You pick the pace, and that's what Scotty Westcott will do. And I kind of went back to Nick, my coach then, and just said, like, I've got a chance now to have this race perfectly play out for me. What should we aim for? And we agreed that pushing the pace back a little bit was safer than trying to be ambitious. And that's when we decided to join up with Marnie Ponton's group and say, look, she wanted to run 2:29. That's the pace she was going to head out for. So I said, let's join forces then. We'll pull our pace back. We'll meet you in the middle. And yeah, we set up for that 2:29 pace. And I just think that was such a blessing, because I felt so comfortable and confident for pretty much, I want to say the whole way. Like, I never got to a stage where I was like, oh, it's not going to happen. If anything, at 30K, I came up beside Scotty and I said, Scotty, I'm feeling great. Like, we're on here. Like, I'm going to do it. And he said, all right, I'll take you all the way then. And yeah, I even at 35, still confident. Even at 37, when you turn around into the headwind, I came up to Scotty again and said, at 3K, I want to go hard for home. But that was a bit ambitious because he surged and I fell off. So then I just thought, okay, we'll wait for 2K to go. And my last 2K was significantly faster. But it just showed I was always there mentally and physically, knowing that I would get to that finish line in a pretty good time. So I just think we planned it perfectly. I think if I had have tried to do anything faster and more ambitious, it could have been a totally different result. And I'm just so grateful that everything fell in my favour on that day.
Jen, was there something, one of the workouts, kind of two parts to this question, any of the workouts in the build-up that you looked at and thought, oh, that's going to be really hard, and it was actually really easy? And like the reversal, anything that you thought was going to be really easy and was actually quite difficult?
Yep. So, I mean, you guys have probably heard a million times the sessions. It is like a kind of a skeleton layout that Nick uses for everyone. But the first session was the session I was most nervous about, just because it was the first marathon session and it was so much bigger than anything I'd ever done in my life. And it's that 20 by 1K where it's just essentially 1K hard, 1K easy for 20K. And I just was so nervous. I was talking about it so much. I didn't really sleep well the night before, but I just remember Brett Robinson saying, Jen, like, you got to remember when you run hard Ks, what are you running, like 3 O's? But for this session, it's so much slower. It's almost just like a threshold broken up. And he was right. I just had such a good session. I still remember Ryan being there when I was finishing my last K effort, and I kind of yelled out to him about something, and he goes, "Is this your on effort or your off effort?" And I said, "No, I'm on here." And he's like, "Oh, why are you talking? Like, you look fine." And afterwards, we were just both so excited, where he's like, "You know, maybe you are going to be able to do this. You killed that session. You know, you thought it was going to be so hard. You didn't sleep well, and, you know, you nailed it." So that was, I think, the most exciting part of the block is doing one session and being like, it's not as bad as I'd built up in my head. I'm going to be fine. But then in reverse, every single session got harder and harder. So the fatigue sets in, the Ks pile up, and the reps, of course, they get longer. And so you go 2K reps the next week, then 3K reps the next week. And I just didn't expect that to keep getting harder and harder. So I would say the hardest one for me was actually 4x5K. It's just a really long way to wrap your head around as a rep. We do this huge session that Nick throws in, not for everyone, just sometimes, and it's 37K. And it starts with an hour run, you know, into a 8K threshold, into minute efforts over 20 minutes, then into a 5K all out as hard as you can go. And I loved it. It was just a something I've never experienced. And it was almost like running a marathon. When I was doing that all-out 5K at the end of the session, I'm obviously absolutely gassed, but it was a feeling I hadn't felt before. It wasn't like that 10K yesterday that I ran where you're getting lactic and thinking, gosh, am I going to make it to the end? It's just a fatigue that you have to bear and get through. And I weirdly enjoyed it. And I just thought, I think this event is going to be really good for me, and I'm ready for it.
Jen, you mentioned a few things now. Like, it kind of seems like every time you came to a crossroads, you had to make a decision, and you went on the cautious side, which is like a sign, obviously, like you're an experienced athlete, but also you respected the marathon, which is what a lot of people don't, especially coming from the track. Like, how hard, like the attitude of how hard is this going to be? It's so slow. I can do whatever I want sort of attitude. Whereas you've obviously seen enough around the traps and been around long enough to know that it can getting to the start line is the hardest bit, and also on the day, like making rash decisions goes wrong. But I also wonder if it's like separating yourself from the group and training more around your own like specific level. Like, you know, you've always been part of a group, I guess, but now you're by yourself. Do you reckon that played into your hands a little bit for this?
Yeah, I think so, definitely, but more so because of the athlete I am. I am your typical wants to do every race, wants to do anything possible to be better. Like if there's a girl in my session that wants to run a faster rep, I'm going to go with her. If there's someone that's like, hey, who wants to do a double run, I'm going to jump in. Like I have no discipline when it comes to overworking, and it's been definitely a flaw of mine my whole career. And yeah, maybe that's from doing so many training camps and being away from home for so long with the group. I haven't in the past made very good decisions when it came to my body and what was right for me. I haven't been good at being selfish, even with Ryan. Like if Ryan went for a double run and I just felt like I wanted to too, I would jump in without the thought of, you know, does my body need this? So I think you're right in the sense that having now my own setup, doing this marathon on block on my own, even Ryan wasn't doing a marathon block. He was doing his normal weekly training. It was purely catered to what I had to do and what I needed to do. And yeah, I had to be really smart, because I have the mentality where if I have another major injury, like there does come a point where you got to call it. And, you know, I'm not going to use the age card because I think I'm still young in this, especially in this chapter, but like I can't re-rupture my Achilles because it's all over. I can't get a really bad stress fracture or fracture in my metatarsal like I've done in the past, where it takes 6 months to get back. Any major injury like that will derail my career because of where I'm at kind of just with my life. and being a mum now, like I have other priorities. So I did want to be cautious and not make any errors if I could control it. And so just throwing in Ks for the sake of it wasn't an option. Running a similar lead up that Izzy might have done or that Sinead might have done, like I can't do that, and I wish I could, but I don't think I'll really ever get to a point where I can run as much as those girls. So I just tried to do it a different mold and hope, like even then I'm acting like I knew it was going to work. I didn't think I could pull it off until I physically crossed that line. So
it did work. It did work.
Exactly. And that's what's so amazing about this whole journey is I did something that I wasn't even super sure about myself, and to pull it off just gives me so much confidence in this event now, because I have respected it so much to a point that I didn't even know if my body would allow me to get through the work. Whereas now I think I can do it a different way and still be good.
Jen, something else you pulled off was a win yesterday in the Sydney Harbour 10K running 32.19. Now, your 10K road PB is only like 19 seconds faster, 32 flat at Launceston. Don't take this the wrong way, but if Sportsbet had odds on yesterday's run, I'm guessing Leanne would have probably been the shortest odds. Were you surprised to be in such good 10K shape off the back of a marathon and marathon prep?
Yeah, totally. And look, I wouldn't have put any money on me winning it either, because that's not what I went there to do. I was in Sydney already for a Puma campaign, and so when I knew I'd be in Sydney a few weeks earlier, I said to Ryan Orr, like, do you want to do the 10K race? Like, you might as well. And Ryan's like, yeah, I'll definitely do it. And I said, what do you think I should do? And he goes, you'd be an absolute lunatic to race a 10K 3 weeks later. Like, just how about you just enjoy yourself? You put up in a hotel for the weekend, just take it easy. And I totally agreed with him. But then my last 2 Tuesday track sessions, I just felt really good. I felt almost zippy. I did some 300s. Ryan needed pacing for some 60-second 400s, so I was doing the first 200 with him and then peeling off. And I just thought, honestly, I haven't felt this good on the track in a while. Like, I think the marathon block's really given me such a strong base, and I've pulled up well. I actually think I could race all right. And so I asked Nick about it, and Nick said, if you give me one more good track session and you feel comfortable doing it, you can race. So, of course, I did a reasonably easy Tuesday track session, felt good doing it, and said, yep, I'd like to race on the weekend. And he said, the first thing he said was, Leanne and Eloise are in it. It's going to be a big challenge for you. And I'm like, yeah, that's okay. I'm third place is great. Like, I'm not looking to win it. And even in the race, Gun Go's first K, Eloise told me it was like 3:04, and it felt like 2:50. It was just like my legs couldn't possibly spin any faster, and I kind of started regretting being out there and just thought, typical you, just excited to race at any possible chance, and your legs are just not ready. So I actually kind of fell off the pace a little bit and let the girls go with this bunch of boys, and just tried to find what pace was comfortable for me. But at about 4K, I realized they weren't getting any further away. I was just choosing to run alone while they had a nice pack. So then I forced myself at 5K to surge and get on the back of them, just to get some cover. And then I see Leanne surge away from that pack, and I was like, all right, well, Leanne's won this. That's a given. I'm just going to try stay as close to Eloise as possible in this group of boys, and I'm sure I'll run pretty decent. And yeah, just as the Ks clicked over, I got to like 7K. It's just, I felt like a new woman. I just came out the other side, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm fine. Like, I've somehow woken up, my legs feel ready to go. And I remember going up to the side of Eloise and saying, hey, do you want to try work to catch Leanne? And I think Eloise just was pretty gassed by that point. So she just hung there with the boys, and I just broke away from the whole pack and tried to just chase down Leanne, because she was out on her own, copping a whole lot of headwind. And yeah, just it took me 2K to catch her. I literally caught her with 200 meters to go, and then had just something tiny left to get past. But it was pure shock again. When I crossed the line, it was similar to the marathon. I was like, what is going on? I don't know where that came from. I didn't even think I was in this type of shape. And it was just a really, again, a special day, because everyone loves a win. And when you shock yourself and make you think that you're actually running better than you thought, it's a really cool feeling.
Jen, how many workouts did you do between the marathon and the 10K?
I did. So after the marathon, I had 3 days off, then ran for 3 days, then had another day off. So that was that full week. I ran 31K that week. Then I tried to start a pretty normal week. The second week after the marathon, I did a 4K session on Tuesday on the track, and it was just 300s with short recovery, and it equaled 4K, so 10 300s. A 20-minute threshold on the Friday, and then the following week was my Tuesday session where Nick said, if you feel good here, you can race, and it was K rep followed by 300 times 4. And then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So 3 short sessions, and I knew my legs were freshened up, and there was no real lingering DOMs or anything from the marathon. So it was kind of like a perfect combination. I'd freshened up so much, but still had the benefit of all that marathon training.
Yeah, which I think we're seeing, like, the traditional approach was that you don't back up as quick, but I think people are proving now that you can.
Yeah, I think if you rest enough, it's like the perfect combination. I think people
bank it and then use it again.
Yeah, I think people get stuck in 2 minds of how much to rest and then how hard to go again. But I rested a lot and then only went, like, my sessions were really short over the next week and a half. And it just, I just felt, I felt really good and ready to go again.
Yeah. So what's next? Like, the time you've got to hit for the marathon to get in that same category, I guess, of Sinead and Elisa there at the moment is 2:26.50. I've heard whispers that maybe Melbourne Marathon might be on the agenda, or will you, head overseas and try to go super fast?
Yeah, it's a really hard one because, I mean, I've said it so many times to everyone. Gold Coast, of course, I'll never take away how hard I worked and how well I prepared, but I did have everything on my side. It was a home course. Like, I know those roads so well. I had family and friends out there. I had Ryan handing me my drinks. I had Geordie Williams in the pack with me, who I'm really close with. I had Scotty Westcott pacing me. Like, it's hard to script something better than that. And that scares me because I know every marathon there's going to be a challenge out there. And I hear so many of the girls in their marathon podcasts say, I'm waiting for the marathon where everything goes perfect. And I actually think I had that. I do. I can't tell you where something went wrong and I doubted myself for a few minutes. It was a dream run and everything really, really worked out. So going overseas scares me a little bit because there's so many more variables and uncontrollable parts to the race, not even talking about the travel alone. So I really want to go overseas, and my coach has pretty much said everyone's eyeing off Valencia. I mean, Sinead's pretty much giving Valencia the best name in the world. She just absolutely killed it there. So we all want to get a little bit of that magic and try to get the Olympic qualifier. But the other part of me so badly wants to do Melbourne because I feel like it's the next closest thing to the Gold Coast. I will probably be able to have someone at my drink stations. It's no travel. I know the roads. I can probably run with Geordie Williams again. It's one of those things where do you take a faster opportunity but with less controllable aspects to a slower course, but you can control a lot.
Well, Sinead ran 2:25 there on a terrible day.
I know.
And she qualified for something that day. I can't remember what it was, but
I think it was World Champs.
World Champs, yeah. So she got it done without leaving her city.
She had Jack and Stewy, didn't she, to very late in the race, yeah.
She had great paces, but I did say that to Nick because I was, trying to go in with a case, but he did say Sinead was in 2:23 that day. He said she was ready to rock no matter what was thrown at her. So he's saying 2:25 was probably a underwhelming performance for how ready she was. He said she was in amazing shape that day.
Well, you just got to get in that shape.
Yeah. Well, I think it says is I'm probably not in 2:23 shape. So I think it's just, I got to start a block again at some point. I'm just, again, I describe the personality I have. I'm so eager to go in and I want to start now. But I think I just need to weigh everything up and work out what the best opportunity is. I'm going to do the half marathon on the Sunshine Coast and just see again where I'm at there, because my last half marathon was an awful experience just physically. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. So I just probably need to get a little confidence at, a half and then make a strong decision on, are we going overseas or we're doing something at home.
That was in Japan too, wasn't it?
Yeah, Gifu.
Yeah.
I guess if you do Melbourne, like October, you do have enough time to reload and do one like early next year, which would be before the cut-off.
Yeah, exactly. I think the reason why it's hard also is there's so many girls trying to qualify for the marathon. Like it's almost like we all need I don't know how, it's just going to be fastest goes, I assume. And if everyone goes to Valencia, it's like a race within a race, which I find really nerve-wracking because like all these girls are either my teammates or really good friends. So part of me wants to kind of be in a different situation where I just run as fast as I can, and that could be in Melbourne. But, Ryan then says, yeah, but, if you can make it easier for yourself and try run faster, wouldn't you go somewhere where there's more chance of running as quick as possible? But like you guys said, I'm not going to have one more shot. I think I've got 2 shots left. I really would like the next one to be a really strong one that gives me an indicator of is marathon for Paris, or are we going to have to switch sites to the track?
Yeah, it could be like an Australian marathon trial. We've been talking about that on the show for years, but just in Valencia. But even, you're right though, I was at Valencia last year, and like I don't think you'd have paces going like 2:26 because it is such an elite race. Like we saw them last year run that kind of like 2:15, 2:16, and then Sinead 2:21. Like I don't know how much you'd be able to control the pace set up there compared to a Melbourne like you spoke about.
Yeah, I know that the meet director because of people like Sinead last year, Valencia is just in super high demand right now. Yeah. And the meet director has had to make a call and say, elite field is only if you can run sub 2:25. Like we'll put you up, we'll pay for your meals, your transport, everything. But if you haven't run faster than 2:25, you're sub elite. If you can do under 2:29, but it's you're putting yourself up in your own accommodation. You're getting yourself over there. You're finding your own way to the course. I think you still get drinks in sub elite. I think you can still send your drinks in to go on a table. But still, like all of that just gives me anxiety because, like I said, at Gold Coast, I was so well looked after. This will be a whole nother game.
Yeah, well, you'd be the star at Melbourne compared to like the 53rd seed at Valencia.
53rd, I think it's going to be further back than that.
Yeah, I don't know. You just never know who's going to enter. So you just hinted towards the track. Like, there's still some hope to get back in the steeple?
Look, I said for a long time that I wasn't ready to let go of the steeple, but now seeing how much enjoyment being back running well is giving me, I think to go back to the steeple would just risk that all again. It was a really dark few months coming back from the Achilles surgery and knowing whether I would ever run elite again. I don't think I would be able to mentally put myself back on the starting line of a steeplechase and do it well. I think that's the problem. I think mentally there'd be a block there that didn't allow me to run as well as I have in the past. But I do believe I could run a 5K PB or a 10K PB. I don't think that they're events that I've seen my full potential in yet. And if for some reason the marathon team is looking like it's done and sealed and I'm not in there, I wouldn't give up. I would try in another event. I'd try in the 5 or the 10.
Yeah. Quick one for you, Jen, before we let you go. Just one answer for me. It's going to be hard, but who excites you in Australian track and field, distance running, marathoning at the moment? So many amazing performances coming in what seems like every weekend with a new Diamond League, but who's your favourite at the moment?
I would say just because of overnight, Adam Spencer is just one of the loveliest guys. I did a lot of training with him in Waverley. He was Tim O'Shaughnessy's athlete. And to see him just get put in last minute only because Oli Hoare had to pull out, and he's just been kind of slipped in at 5:30 last night. He got the call up, put in a ridiculous field at a Diamond League and goes and runs 3:31 and qualifies for not only Worlds but also the Olympics is just really special. And I listened to his interview and I just got goosebumps because I know that feeling where you do something that shocked yourself, even you didn't believe you could do it. So just because it's probably most recent, he's one that I'm excited to watch.
Yeah, well put. Thanks so much for your time tonight. I know Moose only hit you up today and might have only told you like 10-15 minutes, but it's been great chat this evening and hearing all about those things.
Yeah, cool. No, thanks for having me, guys. I always enjoy the chat.
No worries. Thanks, Jen. See you later.
South Australia's premier running event, the Prepped Adelaide Marathon, is on again. The spectator-friendly course starts at the race village in Benitham Park and runs along the beautiful parklands and river torrents. You can register now for the Prepped Marathon, Prepped Half Marathon, or the family-friendly Saucony 10K or 5K event. Enhance your performance with the hydration power of Prepped. Get ready for the 45th Adelaide Marathon, Sunday, August 27, and seize your personal best with Prepped by your side. Register at adelaidemarathon.com.au.
All right, fellas. Want to hear about my training week?
Yeah,
we're doing after that.
The guy that's super unfit. Tell us about it.
Well, okay. So can I just bit of stuff leading in? I said a few weeks ago that I had one strategy or program I always followed post-marathon. So I am usually very unfit 3 weeks post-marathon. So this is I've never been in this territory before. So I'm only coming up with those unfit comments because that's all I've ever known. So I don't think I'm sandbagging. You know what I mean?
Well,
I think even last week, Moose, when I talked about my workout, you're like, why are you doing reps that quick? Like, you shouldn't be doing those. You're unfit.
No, I didn't say that. I said,
you're inferring
is that threshold for you?
Yeah. I know why you're asking that question, though, because you thought it wasn't.
No, well, you look how fit you are. You proved it.
Well, I don't know if I'm that fit. Maybe I just had a lucky day or something. Felt good on Saturday. Anyway, kicked off the week Monday. 60 minutes at 4:29. Still not doubling. Still haven't doubled yet. Tuesday, I did trail for fartlek. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, then 5 minutes again. Working through the gears, trying to sit at threshold for the 5 minutes. So you don't get caught in that trap and murder in the last 5 minutes. Fun workout. I know you like this one too, Croaks, getting to work through the different gears here. 1 minute jog in between, so it comes in at 25 minutes. I went 3:13 for the 5, 3:08 for the 4, 3 minutes for the 3:03 for the 3 minutes, 2:58 for the 2s, 2:51 for the 1, and then 3:09 for the last one. So it was 7.5 at 3:18s. And after this workout, I knew, I'm like, okay, I'm good for 25 minutes. I might fall to pieces and that marathon fatigue might hit me in the last 5 minutes, or if it was a 15k race or a half marathon, I could be in a bit of trouble later on, but I knew I'd be fine for at least 25 minutes come race day on Saturday. Wednesday, I did 70 minutes at 4:16s, 16.8k. Felt like -1 Moose, which was nice and fresh. For my,
that's pretty nice for an easy run anyway.
Yeah, it's actually all right. If you dress accordingly, -1's not too bad. Thursday I did 80 minutes at 4:22s. We had our school review day, Croaks, so all the kids had the day off. You have those? You just go in when you're casual for those days?
I don't go in, no. But yeah, like they have these, I guess staff meet, like the staff just get together and the kids are off.
Yeah, we got interviewed. They talked to us about our planners and stuff. It was pretty full on. It's probably the most full on school review I've been a part of. Did you ever get reviewed in the shoe industry, Moose? People come in?
Reviewed by who?
Like, have you got like the bosses from the running company? They come and do like a checklist and stuff?
Oh, not so much that. Occasionally they put in like secret shoppers or mystery shoppers. Yeah. I'm not sure if I've ever had one come through a store of mine or not.
Oh, H&S? Do you get like checked on that stuff?
Nah.
Okay, no regulators in that industry.
Nah, not really. No.
Yep. So I got out a bit later in the day, which was nice. So I could kind of get on the trails and stuff because the sun was coming up. Friday, 60 minutes and a couple of surges. And then Saturday, got out for 20 minutes in the morning. And then we dropped both our children in Bendigo, and Carly and I went to Bundoora for the day. First time Carly's been at a cross-country race. So I think she kind of enjoyed it. Felt like we were just like back in our 20s dating again. No kids, just going around the state to different running races. So it was quite good.
What did you listen to on the trip down?
On the trip down, I think we just spoke most of the way. Trying to think what was on. Oh, I actually took my mum's car because I had to leave my car with the car seats in Bendigo. And mum must have had it set to like Triple M or something like that, and they were just playing like some old school hits. I don't usually, like, everything's just connected to my phone in my car, so it's always like playlists and stuff. But yeah, there were some great old tracks coming on. But then you just get the ads though, don't you? The ads kill you.
Well, there's no way that you spoke to your wife for 4 hours straight on the drive down.
We don't get all. Yeah, I reckon
Not
we
a
did.
fucking chance.
I think maybe on the way home, I reckon it was turned off as well. Yeah, we're getting weird.
Get out of there.
Our relationship is strong on car trips. We have some very big D&Ms when we're in the car, and then we chuck the kids back in there, and one starts crying, and you don't talk again. So anyway,
what about you, Croaks? You reckon you go 4-hour road trip? You just have a big chat for 4 hours?
Nah. I definitely have the radio on, and if you're driving,
you can't listen to a podcast with someone else in the car with you.
No, I listen to music.
Maybe as a bit of background music. Oh no! If you're in the passenger seat with Carly, you're not allowed to pull your phone out.
Viv cracks the shits as well.
You got to be actively engaged in the conversation, unless you classify it as work. Like, I've got to do some work emails. Anyway, that was 20 minutes in the morning before we went. Bundoora, I really was. Like, I just wanted to have fun. I'm like, I've got no pressure on me. I feel okay, but it doesn't matter if I don't feel okay. My goal was to be in the Premier Division for the Bendigo Bats. Like, I wanted to be our 6th runner. And we had a pretty good team. So I thought our 6th runner was going to come about 30th. So I was like, cool, I've just got to kind of stay with him and kick down a bit if possible. Talk some rubbish with Matty Gunther and Ryan Crammery before the race. They were kind of telling me that they were having they all wanted to be the top cat moose, all your Geelong boys. Because then I saw Ash Hoffman and Hardy separately, and they all want to like be the top cat as well. There's real ego problems in Geelong region cross-country crooks.
Become third, mate.
I know, but it's just they don't worry about beating other teams. They all just want to beat each other.
And don't you think that would be good for beating other teams?
That is good as well. Yeah. That is a good.
If everyone's trying to finish as higher than the other person, that's very good.
Brady's just jealous because he can't have that chat because he's up against Andy Buchanan, so he's no way he's going to be top
scorer, and
he's not going to be top bat.
When you got 5 guys in the top 15, it's pretty hard to beat some guys. Anyway, so I just got out pretty hard. I was like, okay, this is all right. Saw Moose. I'm like, beautiful. I'm just going to tack on the back of Moose here. Me and Apples were making jokes. What's your bib number, Moose? Like 1232 or something like that. Could you hear us talking from a bit further back? Ryan Crammery was there. Hardy was there. You were probably a bit far ahead. You couldn't hear us yapping.
No, but there were some people. Who was it maybe it was Crammers back there who said all these people like giving you shit as you ran past back in the pack as you progressed through that first K.
Yeah, like he was like, "What are you doing here?" or something like that. And I'm like, "I'm just here to beat 12:32." That bloke in front of me, which was you. Anyway, so we got on the back, went through the first 2K, chilled out, took it easy. Was in about 40th. Someone yelled out on the side. Don't know how accurate that was. And then Apples just started like mowing down people. So I thought, Apples is a smart racer. I'm just going to follow him. And then up the top of the hill on the second lap, the big hill, he just kicked off the top of the hill. Like, he's a strong runner, Apples as well. So, and that's where he kind of kicked past you, and I was like, I don't want to really beat Moose until the very end here. That was like my second goal, beat the Bendigo 6th runner and beat Moose. And I thought, Apples is going. I'll just go with Apples and see what happens. And then, it wasn't a workout. Like, I was definitely racing effort and stuff, but it was all in control. We got up to the top of the hill at probably like 7K, and Michael Kernahan just started like fanging it down the hill, and one of those Baisha boys and Apples, and I was just like, nah, I'm not going with that. I'm just going to, like when you can really let go on the downhills and just smash your quads, I was like, I'm not doing that. It's risky enough that I'm racing 3 weeks after a marathon. I don't need to be like, sprinting down hills, racing for 18th, 17th spot or whatever it is. Caught a couple of blokes going up the hill, caught Paddy Stowe, the bull, and then we just kind of ran together into the finish line to come 17th and 18th, which was good because we were our last 2 Bendigo Bats guys coming in. So it was
you
good.
weren't trying to beat him then?
So I got to him and said, hey, stick with me now. No one's coming past us in this last K. Got him at about 9K around that top U-turn, and then it went into a downhill, and then he kicked away from me down the hill, and I was like, cool. And I kind of yelled out to him, I'm like, get Baisha. And then going up that bump just before the finish line, he was in a bit of trouble there, and I kind of got to him. Thought about saying to him, like, let's hold hands, do like a little Cox brother kind of thing across the finish line. And then he then said to me with like 200 metres to go, he's like, you go. So I just kind of kicked away with him at the finish line there, which was good. So, and I actually ran 1 second slower than last year. I was 9th last year, 18th this year. So it was good. Good to be back racing. Sunday I did an hour 45 at 4:24. Was pretty sore. Probably could have done 2 hours, but same thing. I'm just like, I just want to stay away from any risky stuff at the moment. 125 Ks for the week. People getting carried away in my Strava comments. I don't think I'll be racing Sydney Marathon in a few weeks, but thank you for triggering Moose. He wasn't happy with some of those comments, which is always good to trigger the big fella croaks.
Yeah.
few real nuffies in those comments, that's for sure.
People want to see me and you go head to head over a mara. I'm like, people are sleeping on how good you are at the marathon.
People forget I had a knee surgery and I've been out of the game for 4 years, mate.
Yeah.
I got arthritis in my knee. I can't come back like you can. You young little fucking...
I'm pretty sure I'm 6 months younger than you, aren't I?
Yeah, but your body's so small. You're like a little boy. And there's just so much less force. Like, I go for a run, there's probably like a ton of force extra from me running than from you with your little tiny limbs and organs and genitalia.
Well, I love all these excuses after his whole big TED talk last week, Croaks.
Yeah, didn't somebody write in your on your Strava? Oh, here we go. Can't wait to hear the Moose excuses.
Where was my excuses? Tell me the excuses.
You're just saying your body produces too much force.
And your ankle, you don't have enough range of motion in your ankle.
I'm trying to work
pace
out why I can perform.
Yeah, we're just finding excuses.
Did you think it was a bit hot, Moose? It was 14 degrees. Was that a bit hot for you?
A lot of comments made about that. They're like, oh, geez, Brady would be worried about today. He probably got sunscreen on.
Yeah, and how'd he go?
What about Crammers wearing a hat?
Yeah.
Terrible, right?
You wouldn't see that from Luke Crammery.
Oh, mate, I've been giving him shit ever since. I was walking to the start line. You got a bright green hat on with your Geelong uniform.
Yeah.
That doesn't fly. That's no good.
Fashion's
These blokes who are
not great
balding, they got to own that shit. You got to own a balding head.
Yeah, can't you get on that stuff? It always comes up as my Facebook ads. Like, you can get on those tablets and stuff, can't you? Joel Selwood's selling it.
Someone find some links and send it over to Ryan Crammery. Post it on his Strava.
Do you want to go cross-country results now, Croaks, while we're talking, and then we'll go back to Patreon supporters? Hey?
Yeah, let's do it.
Bundoora, Moose, you're in charge of reading this out. Andy Buchanan got the win.
Well, yeah, he did. He ran 29 flat. Wasn't Ed Marks either leading him or were they together for a long period? I mean, I
think it even gapped him at one of the stages early on. Some of the video footage I saw.
Andy. Yeah, see, I didn't know for sure, but then someone said Ed Marks was sitting on the sideline.
Yeah, at 9K when I caught Paddy Stowe, he was just walking like in the opposite direction. I was like, yeah, but that's what Andy Buchanan will do it to you over cross country.
Well, yeah, I haven't heard what's going on there, but he ended up winning. Andy, obviously, we'll call that an asterisk by default. 29 flat. Dave McNeil ran 29.42, so that's a big gap back there. And then Lachlan Hurd, third, 29.53. Andy's very good at cross-country. Very good.
You didn't even pick him last week.
Who did I pick?
You picked Ed Marks. I heard a couple of different people picking Ed Marks. Ed Marks is the person to beat, da-da-da. People just forget how bloody good Andy Buchanan is at cross-country. And he's a 2:10 marathoner. Like,
look, if Ed Marks didn't roll his ankle, then he'd be winning.
I think
just a bit of bad luck there.
I don't know if it was that. I think he looked like he was walking fine when I saw him. I reckon he just got broken by Andy Buchanan, the king.
Yeah, no, I'm saying Andy's very good. He's very good at cross country. I'm not arguing that. Okay. Very good. But then again, think about this: Com Games representative. He's a 2:10 guy.
Marathon, yeah.
He's world champs cross country rep. Like.
He should be smashing people.
Winning. That's right.
That's what I'm saying. The only two people that beat him at World Cross from Australia were Kai Robertson, and Brett Robinson was like 1 second in front of him.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
So
you picked Ed Marks last week.
By 40 seconds.
This is all about the new kid on the block. Ed Marks is going to be good though. He's going to do some.
He's going to be good, but people were banging on like Andy was the roughie here. Andy was the underdog.
Who's doing that?
You were banging on about that. I listened to another podcast where they were saying Ed Marks was the favourite and listed like 7 different names, and Andy was one of them who people could potentially beat him. I nearly threw my phone in the Murray River a couple of times last week listening to some of this bullshit about people sleeping on Andy Buchanan.
About Bundoora?
Oh, it was called For the Kudos I was listening to. Those boys banging on about Ed Marks.
I'll tell you, a quick little moose on the loose on that one. I listened to Brett Robinson give 5 reasons about why he's running Sydney Marathon with no mention of money or prize money. Like, come on. How silly do you think we are? Like, we were announced on the show, there's 15 grand first Australian. How can that not be one single potential motivator for you to do Sydney Marathon and you not mention it?
Plus, I don't think he's going up there for free.
That's what I mean. It's okay to say, hey, look, the prize money's great. I'm going to put my hand up. This is my job. Like, my job's to go out and earn money running, and this is a good contract for me. It's all right to say that.
Be a bit authentic, you reckon?
It's just the obvious one for me. Like, I know like it's part of probably the ambassador role to talk about how great the race is. And look, I'm excited by the race. I think it's going to be great too. But to not even mention that there's good prize money, that's crazy. Come on.
Well, your competitor at Sydney. Big head-to-head brewing there. Team scores, Moose. Do you see these?
Oh, yeah. Bendigo, they were the winners. Western A's just in front of Geelong for third. So big run from Geelong to come up to third place after being fourth, fifth or sixth all year. Came back from Sandown from sixth place to third. So huge from Geelong Cats.
You guys did this last year. Back end of the season, come home strong.
Yeah, Bundoora was the turning point.
I remember.
Third place.
It's always good for us too because you start smacking the teams that are close to us on the ladder.
Yep. In the ladies, it was a pretty weak day for the ladies, actually, kind of disappointing. So Ali Pashley, she ran 34.11. She won by a minute and 8 seconds over Victoria Skaltsonis in second, and Jessica Coyne was third in 36 minutes. Glenn Huntley smashed it, 54 points. Actually, they still smashed it at 54. St Stephen's second, 78. South Melbourne, 141. This was a little disappointing, I thought. Like, I was wondering where the depth was in the women's race. What do you think, Brady?
Yeah, well, Carly just said as a spectator, like, the atmosphere of the men's race, because everyone was so much closer together. Like, it felt like we watched a couple of races there, and it was interesting talking to someone who was at their first event, like the energy and because it's very hard to track the women's race when Ali's coming along and then nothing happens on the track for over a minute and the next person comes along and then it's 40 seconds until the next person. And I know Andy was 40 seconds in front, but the rest of the men's field was very close together.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. It's almost like, it's not an incentive for someone like Ali to show up as well, because the point of that race, travelling all there, was to get a really hard hit out, like against, and to practice racing. And so someone at her level goes along and wins by a minute 10. It's like, oh, I could have done this at home.
Yeah, especially when you got children. Like, she could have banged a 10k tempo on the hills.
Exactly.
Out the back.
Her heart rate was threshold basically. There were a few ups over threshold, but she's come out of it with a threshold run, and perhaps good for training next week. She doesn't have to recover anywhere near as much. But the purpose, like, I'd scheduled this in as a hard race, and so she tapered for it, and then it's just I'm not sure who in the state didn't run that could have. Perhaps all the good runners are overseas right now. Perhaps that's the problem. But then you look at some of our marathoners, like Sinead doesn't run much cross country, if any. Who else have we got in Victoria? Lisa Waitman.
Oh, yeah, she did run Melbourne the week before.
Run Melbourne, yep. So, and then who else are our lady marathoners? So Sarah Klein wasn't there. I mean, this is the Vic Champs. Like, it would have been cool to see interstate athletes come for this too, because this is the premier cross country outside national cross. This is almost like, this is the second best cross country in the race in the country. So yeah. Anyway,
I would love to know from females though, like, because 3 males talking about why the female races aren't deep compared to the men's, is like, we're just I'd love to know. Can people write in if you have an answer? Is it the time of day? Like, is it, would a 9 a.m. start make it deeper? Is it too much out of their day? Do you know what I mean? Like, as parents and stuff?
You think males wake up at different times?
No, I mean, like, if you're a parent and you got young kids and you got to, like, schedule the whole thing around, like,
So males can't be parents?
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Brad, you know what he's on about?
I know where he's going.
I'm trying to say I don't know what. I'm saying I don't know what I'm on about. So can people write in and tell us what is a limiting factor here?
You're about to get cancelled. Yeah. We're not going to see you again for 6 years after this.
What? Because I've said males can't be parents.
Yeah, Brady, we're spending tonight doing a bit of editing, I reckon.
Cut that out, Zach.
There's a bloke on Twitter that's going to eat you up. I know his handle off by heart. Last time he mentioned women, geez, you copped it.
I'm backing the women here. I know I'm trying to make it easy for the women.
I don't think you can't just, like, dicey time, World Cup, all that.
Getting deep here. Getting deep. Anyway.
Let's thank some patrons.
Let's do it. Let's go back to the top.
All right.
Croaks.
I've got Espen Garberg from Vestland in Norway. Now, I couldn't find any running results for Espen, but I'm pretty sure he either works for or is the owner of Garberg Transport. So I jumped on their website and put the services into I put the services, because it was all in Norwegian, I put it into the English converter, and I found out that they offer dump trucks with trailers, delivery trucks, semi-trailers, tractors with trailers, crane trucks with equipment, wheel loaders, special transport, excavators, ploughing trucks, and container rental. So anyone in Norway, if you need one of those, hit up Espen, and thanks for your support.
Sounds like mafia to me.
Isn't it like three of the coolest names getting around? Espen Garberg, who lives in Vestland.
Yeah.
Just some good words there. Who you got, Moose?
I've got Jane Halter. So she's from the Gold Coast, and Strava bio has her long-term goals as a 22-minute 5K, 47 10K, 113 15K. How do you come up with that as a goal?
I don't know. It must be a 15K race that she's interested in doing, or has done in the past and wants to run.
Isn't there a Gold Coast 30K? Do they do a 15 as well?
Oh, they probably do. You're right about that.
There we go.
Could be Ballarat on her radar.
Yeah, from Gold Coast.
A 1:45 half marathon. She has run 22 at 34, so they're not her PBs.
No.
Let's just be clear. Sorry, Jane. They're not your PBs. We've just read out your goals. She's very close though. 22:34 at Kira Parkrun. She's run 48 for 10K and 1:46 at Melbourne Half last year. We think she runs for Southport Runners Club and has a photo of her on her Strava with Michael Shalley. He's a hero up there, isn't he?
He is.
Famous. Yep. Pretty sure Jane works for Niami International, an organisation that provides mental health, homelessness and suicide prevention support and works to strengthen local communities. So good on you, Jane. Very noble profession, and thank you for your patronage.
I reckon if she's running 22:34 to parkrun as well, we could get Jordo McLennan, maybe Tim Vincent to meet her, do a 5K on the track, pace her, she'll break 22, achieve that lifelong goal. Easy. That'd be the difference, yeah. Get a pacer and get on a track for 12 and a half laps.
She's with Southport Runners Club. There's probably a pacer in there, Brady.
Maybe. I thought you were going to say maybe there's some beef between them and Gold Coast
I was
Runco.
just going to say, don't... Yeah, well, there could be if you start doing that.
Maybe. Anyway, parkrun courses, sometimes not the fastest, that's all I'm saying. I'm going to thank Lawrence Yap, who's based in Melbourne. He's got a half marathon PB of 1:37 from Run Melbourne last weekend. And going by his estimated best on Strava, he ran a 5K and a 10K PB on the way to that half marathon PB. And he did say in his notes that he went out a bit hard, so I think that's probably close to accurate. He's also ran 44:13 at the Sri Chinmoy. I think it was one of the Yarra or Burnley 10Ks in 2022. He's building up for Sydney Marathon, Moose. So you and Lawrence be on the same start line in 8 weeks' time up in Sydney. Maybe ran 4:42 at Chicago Marathon in 2016. Not confirmed if that's him or not, or just a guy with the same name. Maybe an espresso kind of coffee guy. And he's got a partner called Juliet who gifted him a Patreon subscription. So a massive thanks to Juliet for hooking up Lawrence there. Good idea. Wouldn't it be a great gift, fellas? Imagine just waking up on your birthday, Christmas, and go, you know what, I got 12 months or however long subscription to a podcast sorted out for you. Very personalised gift.
Might buy Viv one.
Oh yeah, she'd love it, I reckon.
I reckon you've done Lawrence dirty there, though.
Why?
4:42. The guy's just ran 1:37 half marathon, and you've stitched him up with a 4:42 in Chicago.
In 2016, if it was him.
You have stitched him up big time.
Well, you should have turned it around, Brady, and said, this guy is on the up. Ran 4:42 in Chicago in 2016. He's now 97 for the half. He'll be 60 minutes in 5 years at that rate.
Well, I don't know if it's him.
No, I know. That's what I mean. That's why you've stitched him up, because you just picked a random name. Well, not a random name, but
Right in, Lawrence. Let me know. But isn't that saying look at the improvement from 2016 to 2023?
National record coming 5 years time.
Yeah. Maybe. What do we? Oh, Patreon. We've got some new stuff starting. Can we do this now? Have you guys got your bit confirmed?
Do it now.
So we're working on a road to Berlin. This would be the road to Berlin season 3, I think. We did the OG one last year. We did one, didn't we? Well, yeah, Christian. And was it just Christian by himself? I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
And now we've got a new one starting up I think it's this week, boys. I think it's this week. We've kind of all selected a person each, and we've kind of gone a bit away from the traditional kind of elite, sub-elite kind of vibe. Do you guys want to, Moose, do you want to tell me about the person you're bringing to the panel is?
Well, his name's James Friend.
Jimmy.
He's cool. Some call him Jimmy. He's probably the biggest running fan in the world. You're going to have to cap your episode length because he loves talking running. Like, if you get him on shoes, good night. He'll be there. He'll have you there all night. He's employee of the running company Geelong, number 1. Well, he's not employee number 1, but he's the big dog down there. He looks after all our partnerships and races, that kind of stuff. Training to run 2:40 at Berlin, just coming off a big half marathon PB at the Gold Coast where he ran 75:50 odd. So he's looking good for that. What else?
Do you coach him, Moose?
No, Ali coaches him.
Okay.
And actually some suspect coaching from her lately for Jimmy, giving him a bit of a niggle. Also, doesn't put a lot of care into the program.
So
I'd
copy
like
and paste
to host,
kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to host one night just to really pick apart the training, to see if he just see if he can explain himself, justify the things that are going on.
So we're saying it's breaking 2:40 for Jimmy. That's the goal for Berlin.
Yeah, breaking 2:40 for sure.
Okay. Croaks, who you got? And I'm hearing this I don't know anything about you in person, so I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Yeah, so I've got Rob Wilson. I've been coaching Rob since probably early 2020. He's a father of 2. He's a videographer by trade, so he works at a school. So he basically does all of their videoing and yearbooks, so content creator. He also designed the Mulligan's Flat Track Club logo. So his PBs, he doesn't run a lot of the shorter distance. I think he's run 16:49 for 5K, which was at that Stromlo Criterium course, one that they have at the start of the year. He ran his 10K PB yesterday at the Sydney Harbour 10K. He ran 34:09. Half marathon of 66:57 at last year's Western Creek half marathon, which is not it's on bike paths, so he would run faster if he went to Gold Coast. And his marathon PB is 2:40:08 at last year's Gold Coast marathon. So he'll be looking to go under 2:40 at Berlin. He runs about 110K a week.
Oh, him and Jimmy having a big showdown.
Yeah, not sure that's enough mileage for him, Croaks.
That's all right. He
proof of being the pudding, Moose.
Yeah.
Well, he ran 2:40:08 off that mileage. Well, he might.
That's what I mean.
He'll bump up. Actually, he would have done a bit more during the marathon block. I just had a look at his Strava to see what he's been doing recently, and it's around 100 to 110. But that'll go up, probably another 10, 15K in the marathon block.
All right, 2 good people. I'm bringing a guy who.
Sorry. One more thing. Yep. So he's also on the same side of 40 as myself.
Okay. How old is Jimmy, you reckon, Moose?
Oh, he's 30.
Okay.
Not 30 just yet, but he's 30 in a few weeks. So you might even get one a podcast with him on his 30th. That'd be fun.
Podcast. Yeah. My guy, I reckon, is about 25. Should have looked that up. But he's one of my teammates at the Bendigo Bats. His name is Patrick Stowe. He's based in Albury, so he kind of comes under the River Bat label to run for the Bendigo Bats. He was 8th at the Gold Coast Marathon last year when he ran 2:20:20, which was pretty much, he had done a marathon for charity New York way before he was into running, so I'm kind of calling that his debut last year.
Can't do that.
Yeah, he just went over and raised money. And
Can't do it. A debut is the first time you run a marathon. End of story.
Oh, you reckon if you're just doing it like just for a charity and not even involved in running in like 4 hours, and then he's actually got into it?
Still your first marathon.
There's no asterisks.
I don't know. Well,
I'm calling it. That was his second marathon.
His real crack at the marathon, he ran 2:20:20. So we've got big upside from Paddy. So he's kind of on. Those two boys are breaking 2:40. Paddy's going to Berlin to break to 2:20. He's nicknamed the Blue Collar Bull because he doesn't mind a 5 a.m. run. Very, very blue collar, this guy. So follow him on Strava. Very early runner. 66 for the half marathon. 14:28 for the 5K. He's one of the friendliest blokes you'll ever meet, so it's going to be really hard to get him to stop talking as well. Moose, a physio, like one of those real nerdy physio blokes as well. Could talk all day about physio stuff. Come third at the 6 foot track marathon this year. He's been running top 20 in all the AV stuff this year, and his favourite quote is "Pressure is a privilege." So that's a bit of a quote that he says to us on the start line every time we are about to lace up for the Bendigo Bats. So it should be a good panel. Looking forward to recording. I think one of us is going to jump on for maybe the first couple of episodes, and then we'll let them do their thing, hopefully, for the second half of that season. Also want to get something with Sydney going as well. Possibly a row to Sydney, just waiting on the sub-elite fields. Our mate Jimmy over there at Sydney Marathon to try and get some stuff going. So stay tuned. Patrons with us for Shoe Geeks coming out as well today. The monthly will be coming out soon. All this Diamond League stuff. Need to talk to Christian and his Norwegian boy that we're going to talk about now, Croaks. Let's go there first. London Marathon, London Diamond League last night.
I'll do London first. Yep.
Yeah,
all right.
Let's do that.
So we'll start with the 1500. So maybe a day before the race, Oli Hoare pulled out. He's been having some issues with his hip and groin. And obviously there was no Jakob. So, like Stewy was the only one that went with the pacemaker. Even with like a lap to go, he had like a 10 metre lead. Started to get caught with about 300 to go, and then sort of got swamped a little bit with like 200 to go, but held on pretty well. Jared Nagus got the win in 3:30.44. Nav Nordas, the Norwegian, he was second in 3:30.58. Gave Stewy a bit of a nudge at 300 metres to go.
Nearly put him into the the hammer throw net.
Yeah, that was a shit move. Stewy's busting his ass. He's been 10 metres in front of the whole field. He's up against the rail, and this guy's basically just could have moved another 30 centimetres wider and not touched him at all. So that was a shit move by Nordas. And then Neil Gawley was third in 3:30.6. Stewy was sixth in 3:31.42, so it's a season's best and a step in the right direction for Stewy. And Adam Spencer, he finished 12th in 3:31.81. It was a 5-second PB, and he's now fourth on the all-time Australian list. So big breakthrough from Adam, and that's a World Championship and Olympic qualifier as well. Incredible,
isn't it? He'd say 6 months ago that Adam Spencer's going to run 3:31. Would have told you were dreaming.
That being said, remember before he went over to college here, he was winning everything.
Yeah, but 3:31 is different than just winning stuff domestically.
Yeah. And we should mention as well, he only got a start, because of Oli pulling out.
Yeah.
So
make the most of the opportunities, that's called.
Yeah, yep. So 800 metres. Keely Hodgkinson was the standout here, but she also pulled out with sickness just before the start. So it sort of left it wide open. Gemma Riki got the win, 157.3. Natoya Gould was second, 157.61. And Halime Nayai was third in 157.62. Cat Bisset, she was fourth in a new Australian record of 157.78. So that's 0.31 of a second faster than her previous record. So she's the first person to break 158. And I've been really impressed with her this season in terms of, last year, she used to always be right on the pace, really, really aggressive. Whereas I feel this year she's just sort of holding back a little bit, but then finishing a lot stronger than what she was last year. So, she's in good form leading up to World Championships. Any thoughts?
Yeah, incredible. It's good to see, how's the resilience? Bounces back from falling over last week, comes and breaks the Australian record this week.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I would like to see. I've got to have to watch it after this, both races.
It's all on YouTube. Yeah, it's easy to watch these days. Apart from, Croaks, when you watch them, do you ever watch them in replays?
No. So I just jump on the YouTube which has it like the whole 2 hours pre-recorded, and then all
Is it
I do
timestamp though?
So I just scroll through.
Yeah, I wish they just had like little timestamps on there though, like 1500, 3K, shot put, like, because then you just got to scroll through the whole 2 hours to see if you can find it. Well,
it's easy to do because once you scroll through, you can see the footage changing, and you know when it's a distance event because of how they're all lined up.
Yeah, I know how to use the scroll function, but yeah, they could make it easier for us.
It doesn't take that much time. Anyway, women's 5K was a really good race as well. So Rose Davies paced for the first couple of K, and then in the last 3 or 4 laps, there was basically Sergei, Beatrice Chebet, who won the world cross-country champs, Safan Hassan, and Medina Issa, and Alicia Monson was sort of just hanging on off the back. But yeah, Sergei got the win in 14:12.29. Beatrice Chebet was second, 14:12.98. Hassan third in 4:13.42. So that was PBs for all three of them. Medina Issa, she ran 14:12.29, which is an under 20 world record, and Alicia Monson was 14:19.45, which broke Shelby Houlihan's American record. And the last event there was the steeple, won by Jacqueline Chepkoech in a world-leading time of 8:57.35, and she beat the world record holder Beatrice Chepkoech.
They're amazing results, but how's Shelby Houlihan still like racing? See how she did a road race, a 10K the other day, and they let her do that beer mile, and she broke the world record, and
They don't care, do they? No one seems to give a shit over there.
Nah. Well, she certainly doesn't. She's just trained through this whole band, and didn't she run 30:20 or something? She must be pretty fit. Maybe 30:35, like in a road 10K.
I think she just coincidentally shows up to group training occasionally.
That's not a good look for the whole group.
No.
Anyway, let's go with the Diamond League that happened. So this was Friday, Sunday Diamond Leagues were.
Yeah.
This is incredible, boys. Hold on to your seats if you haven't heard these mile results. Faith Kipyegon broke the world record by almost 5 seconds. Safan Hassan did have it. She ran 4:07.64. Probably the greatest distance performance of all time, fellas. Is that what we're calling it?
See, no, you were saying this, and someone else said
saying this. That's the first time I've said it
right now.
That's the first time I've said it then, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not... No, I don't agree with that, Brady.
I've just been reading it everywhere, and I thought, I'll just bring it up.
The problem with the mile is it's never been run that often.
Not as often and not as recently, and so you're not getting the the high quantity of racing.
Yeah, there's a stagger between kind of the results because they only pop up and you need good pace and good weather and need a lot of things to go right if you're only doing them once a year.
So Faith Kipyegon's 1500 is ranked higher than this mile in terms of ranking points. And so it's hard to justify why this would be better than that. Agree?
I was just like the old 4-minute mile thing, and I'm like, she's getting close.
7 seconds. That's like 1.5 seconds, nearly 2 seconds per lap still.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Nearly 2 seconds per lap. Come on.
Is it Megan Croaks? How do you pronounce her last name? Do you know?
McGeehan,
that's it. 4:14. She broke Sonia O'Sullivan's Irish record for second. And for Weenie Hallu, she was 4:14.79. Jess Hull was there though. See, I get this example, Moose, because you're like, Jess Hull can probably just keep lower on this every year because she might only have one crack at it in a field like this to run 4:15.3. Yeah. So she broke the national record by 3 seconds and is now on the all-time list. But when you actually
1500 split for this race?
Well, when you compare all these ladies with their 1500 metre PBs, it probably just is what they should be running for the extra 109 metres, isn't it?
Yeah, I think 1500 metre, 4-minute mile equivalent is about 3:43 for 1500, and so
7 seconds.
So Faith Kipyegon has run 3:49, so she's 6 seconds off, 6 seconds outside the 4-minute mile equivalent, I suppose. And so here she's 7 seconds.
Yeah. And Jess Hull,
that 3:49 or 3:50 that she ran, that's still the best run in the world.
Yeah. And so Jess here is 8 seconds behind Faith. So you add 8 seconds to her, so this is the equivalent for Jess of that sort of 3:57, 1500, I suppose.
Yeah. Yep. Took 3 seconds now. 8th all-time list. That's pretty cool. 8th all-time. Also national records for Laura Muir in 4th, Nikki Hiltz in 6th, both running 4:15, and Abbey Caldwell was in the same race in 9th, running a PB of 4:20. Men's 5K was incredible as well. That was won by Hagos Gerriwet. He ran 12:42.1. Aragawi was second in 12:42.5. Telahun Bikili was third in 12:42.7. Mo Katir broke Jakob's European record in 12:45.01, and Jimmy Grecia he's from France too, isn't he?
France, yeah.
Yeah, French national record in 12:56. See, we get Stewy in that race. He's breaking the Australian record.
The 5Ks this year at the Diamond Leagues have been unreal. Like the World Championships is going to be awesome.
Yep. 800 metres was won by Kinyami. He's Kenyan, I'm pretty sure.
Kinyamal, I think.
Kinyamal, sorry. I thought that L was an I. 143.2, which is a world lead. Mula was second in 143.2. And A-Rock was third in 143.5. Joseph Deng was ninth in 144.9. Steeple was won by Simon Koich in 8:04. Geordie Beamish broke the area record, which is the Oceania record. He was fifth in 8:13.2. So that old transition croak, so I haven't been listening to their podcast, but they were...
I haven't either.
Yeah, they were talking about him becoming a steeple chaser, and he wasn't really keen on it, but that's where they wanted him to do, and now is the... Oceania record holder. Who had it before? Who had it before him?
It was a New Zealander, but it's about 40 years old.
Yeah, yep. So what's the Australian record?
Crichton's, I think, 8:16.
8:16. Okay. Yep. So Worlds is going to be a good battle because you've got Germa, who broke the world record, didn't he? And you got Albakali, who doesn't seem to actually get beaten, but hasn't got the world record, and now Koich as well.
Did you see this Koich guy? He looked like he was cruising. Like he's real smooth. Okay. Yeah, so I think he's got a lot of upside. So that'll be a good race between those three at Worlds.
Yeah, I like that. Keep an eye on that. How many weeks away is it? 3, 4?
4? Yeah, maybe 4 weeks.
Yep. Well, I'm going to jump down to this news because Morgan McDonald, which is a name we haven't said for a long time, he is actually in the quota for the 5K. He raced, it was his first race in 345 days, and he ran 13:24. At the, what's it called, the Sunset Tour USA 5K. So he's in 39th position of the 42 quota spots. Kai Robinson is in 44th position from the 42 quota spots, so just outside. So talking about people trying to slide in to these world champs, Morgan McDonald may get there, which would be cool to see him back racing. Isn't it? Yeah. So he must have had a performance from last year that was probably just inside the window, and now he's just getting back inside the window, in the start of the window and the end of the window, and had a massive year-long injury in the middle there. Because we know what he can do when he's fit.
There are still like a lot of countries, I think, maybe haven't had their nationals yet. Is that what I was reading? And so there could be some points up. Like there could be a bit of jumping around still going on there.
Yeah,
but I could be wrong about that too. Maybe those nationals have all finished up now.
No, I think I saw that from Sean Whipp, but that could have been Thursday, Friday to happen this weekend, just gone.
Yeah,
but you'd think he might find another 5K though and go 13. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 13:15 next one. What's qualified? Yeah. Isn't it super low though?
Oh, it's like 13:04 or something.
So he's not going to get that. Instantly.
So I'm just having a look to see what his second result would have been. And so last year on the 30th of August, he ran a 3:19 in Italy. So I guess he's 3:19 and he's 13:19 and he's 13:24 here are his two sort of qualifying results.
That's crazy. That gets you in the quota. Like you'd think you'd need to be running sort of low 13 teens to be making the start list for world champs.
Yeah, you'd have to dig deep into the classifications of some of these meets.
Yeah, or do 3K results count for 5K as well? Because he did run a 7:39 in Zagreb in September.
The track is different. So the track takes more than 2 results, I believe. I think it's just a marathon that uses 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's while you're talking.
Yeah. Because he's got then like a 7:39 3K. He had a 7:49. I don't know whether he did that. He did some cross country result.
Right.
Finished 4th.
So too.
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
I'll look it up.
All right. Just another bit of running news was the Para World Champs. They finished up just as we were recording last week. And so Reece Langdon got the silver medal in the T38 1500 metres, while Angus Hinksman got bronze in the same event, and Dion Kenzie was 5th in that same event as well.
And then was the other bit like the Commonwealth Games being cancelled for regional Victoria? Did you see that?
Sydney Harbour 10 for Moose.
Oh yeah, that's a bigger race than I thought it was. Looks good down there. I've never been there. Have you run that, Croaks?
Sydney Harbour 10?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Ed Goddard won 29.37. He was 12 seconds in front of Ryan Gregson, who ran 29.49, and then Aaron Spiesberg Parker 29.56. And so, as discussed before, Jen ran 32.19, beat Leanne Pompiani by 3 seconds. Eloise Welling was back in 32.58. Interesting that Jen and Ed, both Gold Coast marathoners, won this race.
And Eloise.
Yeah, but the winners were, and then the second place were both the half marathoners from that race.
Yeah. And Eloise raced last weekend as well, in Sutherland to Surf. So she raced 2 weeks after Gold Coast and now 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Loves racing.
Yeah. Oh, and then Brady, as you said, the only other bit of running news here is, which was I think Tuesday morning, it was announced that Melbourne were pulling out of hosting the 2026 Commonwealth Games.
Wow. Regional Victoria.
Well,
it wasn't Melbourne.
Sorry, regional Victoria. Yeah.
That was part of the problem, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too costly.
Mm.
Yeah,
what's going to happen to them?
Well, Gold Coast put their hand up, the mayor or something. Thought he said, hey, we'll have a crack at it. We've got all the facilities from a few years ago. Probably won't cost us that much.
Yeah,
but,
it could be the beginning of the end for the Commonwealth Games.
Well, we've
feels
had
like that.
We've had that discussion on here before. Like a lot of the events, and like I know we spoke about this when the last Com Games were on, like a lot of the events are not super deep. A lot of the top athletes in the Commonwealth don't actually turn up to it because they don't rate it.
You can cherry pick events and show the depth through that, but the majority they don't, do they?
Yeah, like the men's 1500, like legit, like that was pretty much a World Championships final outside of Jakob and Mo Katir. But then, it's hard to find any other event like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Running news, that is done for running news. Moose on the loose.
Oh, yeah. It's not really a moose on the loose. Well, it kind of is, because I see it happen all the time, especially for marathons, because most people, like in our circles, they do pick a marathon and they train quite strictly for that marathon. They don't really pick a 10K and do it for that. We see it more with the marathon, and perhaps it's a little riskier with the marathon with the long runs and the volume involved. But I think there's this real push to make sure your training gets done even when the body's not quite right. And because stuff's written down on paper, it's almost as if they're like an athlete will see a program and go, okay, just fight my way through to the taper, and then everything will come good. And you get that with injuries. So someone will be 5 weeks out and they'll have like an Achilles issue, and they're like, okay, I've only got 2 weeks left, and then I start tapering, and then I'll come good in the taper. And so they'll push and through because they don't want a down week and they don't want to miss a workout or a long run. And they'll get to the start line and they might have this fitness, right, that's 100% of what they've done. Like their training program was completed to the 100% of what it could be. And in their mind, they're 100% fit. But their body, it never fully came good through the taper. So they're starting with a little niggle here or there. And maybe they're 100% fit, but their body's 80% healthy. And I don't think that should be the goal of the training program. Like I think an athlete should arrive at the start line with 100% health, which means no niggles or injuries or clouds or sicknesses and they should sacrifice fitness to be there in 100% health. And this will determine their outcome more than anything. So at the 30K mark of that race, the athlete who's in there with an injury cloud and who's 80% healthy, their ceiling with what they can do with the efficiency of running with a niggle is so much lower than the ceiling of someone whose body is super healthy, but perhaps they're not like in that ideal type 100% fitness range. That athlete can perform almost like semi-miracles on the day with a healthy participating body, because you can push that ceiling up and up, I believe, if the body can be a willing participant. Whereas a body that doesn't want to participate, that's niggled or injuries, will pull you back so much faster than a stronger aerobic athlete, in my mind. And I think people prioritise training way more than they should prioritise a healthy body. That's it.
It's it goes back to that old one workout doesn't like make or break a whole build up.
Yeah.
And I had this conversation with someone yesterday. Like, it's better to miss. Let's just take 2 days, 3 days to get over this cold, whatever it is, instead of pushing through it and missing 2 or 3 weeks. Or like if it's a tiny little niggle or whatever, like just get on top of it early. It's just
so rare. It's so rare
because everyone's like, "Oh, I'll be right once I get to the taper. Once I get to the taper, I can back off." And you're like, "No, like, yeah." And I've done it myself. I spoke about it when my Gold Coast build up. Like I was sick and I just dragged on for 3 weeks.
But you still got to the start line healthy, which was lucky.
It took me a while to actually go, you know what, I just need to respect this and get over this and not be a sucker to my program.
Yeah, but so you made the decisions to get to be 100% health on start line, and you sacrificed some fitness, and your race went relatively well for that.
You know what, I've really been thinking about this lately with the reintroduction of doubles. And I'm just like, my life has been fantastic not double in the last 3 weeks. And I'm just like, I'm much better to be around at home. I've got more time to help out with the kids. I'm not as stressed trying to fit things in. And I'm like, what? Because sometimes I double like nearly every day of the week bar Sunday. I'm like, am I pushing myself over that edge you're talking about? And then, like how much does it benefit fitness?
Well, and your age now.
Yeah.
Look at Jen. Yeah. Jen said that she ran Gold Coast off no doubles and no cross training.
Yeah, well, I'm not breastfeeding, so I've got to take that aspect out of it. I think that's what she was talking about there. But yeah, it's like, well, yeah, do I look at these last 10 years and go, you kind of got a bit of base there. You don't need to be like pushing the envelope now. Rely on the base, not what you can get.
Feel good.
Yeah,
feel good every day.
Yep. Yeah.
Similar to...
Yeah. And you're still doing 70 minutes in the morning. Like, you're still doing all the workouts. It's just difference between your weeks at 135, not 160.
Sort of related, Moose, to what you're saying here. Like, often people, like, you've got people who are sort of injured and just want to push through till the taper, but then you often see people as well in that last 2 weeks before the taper, they're like, I only have 2 more weeks to get fit. And they almost like overdo those 2 weeks, and then the niggles come actually like basically they get the niggle during the taper because they've tried to get too much out of the last like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm noticing all the little things, like I can, even with my own training and return to proper training, 1 big week and I'll suffer the following week. I'm recovering from that Sunday long run until at least Wednesday, because it was a bit faster and a bit harder than normal. And yeah, I'll absorb it in 2 or 3 weeks, but it's actually hurting my training for that following week. And if I had a race, Bundoora, perhaps I was still a bit beat from 30K, 32K, really hilly, quite fast long run. And that's that last 2 weeks. You're going to feel that shit on the start line of your race.
That's good. It's like real training talk stuff these last couple of weeks. I've been loving it.
Getting real motivational, isn't it?
Yeah, Zach, cut that one again. What about that other one? Had 11,000 views.
Yeah, I've written here, when are you bringing your book out, Moose?
Oh, look, as I get back into training, I think about things way more. I'm a much better coach when I'm running myself. That's another little thing I learnt. I can relate to the athletes so much better if I'm training and I'm actually motivated, and I'm doing workouts, and I'm thinking about things so much more intently, and it takes up all my mind. I go to bed at the moment and I'm like thinking about training, and that's good for my athletes.
It's up and about. Can I take a moose on the loose end? Because I didn't like this quote I saw. We kind of spoke about it last week. Did you see this one that come in from someone must have asked Kipchoge about what he thinks about Kiptum?
Oh, yeah, go.
Yeah, so this is the quote. So there was a bit to it. They were kind of talking about this potential head-to-head with Kipchoge versus Kiptum. And then this is the quote that he come out with. Amongst, I'm just pulling this bit out of the Kiptum reference, but he kind of said, start quote, "If Kiptum runs under 2 hours, he will always be second. I'll always be the first one. So I have no worries at all," Kipchoge said. And I was like, man, it was an exhibition event. It wasn't an official race. I know the general punters out there actually do think he ran a marathon under 2 hours. He did do the distance under 2 hours. But I just thought it was a weird, flex on Kipton. You're like, so if Kipton goes out and runs Berlin in 1:59.58, I don't think Kipchoge can sit there and go, well, I did it first. You're like, no, he's done it in an actual race, mate. Like, this is a different kettle of fish. And a diehard runner knows this, so please, Elliot, do not claim that.
If I was Kipton, I would send him. I would send Kipchoge a link to his World Athletics profile and say, "Mate, I can't see sub 2 hours here."
Yeah, why is the world record not 1:59?
It's interesting though. Like, there's this sort of
getting under his skin, isn't he?
There's this bit of saltiness coming from Kipchoge, which I guess is the true mark of like a champ. Like how it's easy for him to be like the nicest guy in the world when like everything's going perfectly. And then, somebody comes in and is better than you, and it's sort of, ruffling his feathers a little bit.
We saw it at London when he got towed up that day in the rain and he had that ear problem.
After Boston too, remember when he didn't show up to the press conference?
Yeah.
And then he went them when he did get there, like the next day. It's like, I never was meant to be here or something like that. Like, I've seen it a bit lately.
That's why I've always had time for athletes like Roger Federer, where, like, regardless, win, lose, or draw, just, like, so genuine.
Scott Benderbury the same.
Whereas Kipchoge's been like that, but now it's like, okay, the spotlight's not on him as much as it has been, and so now he's getting the shits.
And that's why he's going to Berlin, and that's why Kipton won't be at Berlin. Let's go get one back on the board and do your thing at Berlin.
Come to Sydney.
Next year he'll be there.
He'll be
there.
No,
he'll wait till it's the year of the World Marathon Major. That's when he'll be there.
I hope though, based on what you said about Robbo, with like why Robbo's going to Sydney, I hope when they interview Kipchoge next year as to why he's coming to Sydney, he mentions cash.
Well, that's a good point. Kipchoge never mentions cash.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't get on that media press conference and say, "Well, to be honest, these guys offer me the most, so that's why I'm here."
It's probably it's probably in their contracts that they can't sort of talk about the money side of things.
That's right. Yeah. It would be, wouldn't it? Do you reckon it's in Brett Robinson's contract?
Probably. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, maybe that's my bad there.
I liked it. What's coming up, boys? Croaks, you just having a week of work before the heart surgery?
Yep. Yeah, week of work, bit of walking, bit of home gym. Yep.
Okay. Moose, what are you doing between now and next week?
So Tuesday, tomorrow, I'm going to VIS. Ali's doing lactate threshold testing, so I want to go watch it. I want to go see the protocols they use and all that. And then on Thursday, going to the Loyal Carnot concert in Melbourne. Yeah.
That would be good. Where's that at? Like Festival Hall or something?
At the Palais.
The Palais. That'd be good.
Yeah. Should be good. So we're staying up in Melbourne for the night, just the two of us.
No CD? That's his best song.
Yeah, he's got some good ones. He's like a poet. I really like it.
What night did you say you're in Melbourne? Thursday
night, yeah.
I'm going to Melbourne Wednesday, but we're going to the Royal Children's Hospital to do allergy testing. So it's not going to be as exciting as your visit to Melbourne.
I remember you did that before Gold Coast last year. It sounded horrible.
Yep. They get all the pricks out and go do all the stuff on the kids' backs. But both of them are getting it done this time. So it's going to be could be a long drive back. Double appointment being booked in for 8 months. Yeah. But at least you'll know at the end of the day, it's just like these foods, this kid can't eat. So it reduces.
Good idea.
Yeah, will probably save their life. So, it's all good. All right, fellas, see us next week. That was fun. Good to hear from Jen. Patrons, keep an ear out for Road to Berlin sometime this week. And, we'll be back doing it all next week. Episode 300 next week, boys. 300. Shall we ask the listeners to do anything special for it? I was thinking about this during the week.
Yeah, maybe they can come up, because I've got no ideas what we can do.
I would love to know what the first episode you'll listen to. I'll come up with something. Keep an eye on our social media. I'll always ask people when they say they listen to the podcast. I'm like, when did you start? And who was running well at the time and stuff like that. I always wonder when people get on the bandwagon of Inside Running Podcast.
Or how they found out about it.
Yeah, how'd you find out about it? How'd you come across this?
I can't listen to podcasts without listening to episode 1 and going through. I hate the idea of jumping in midway. I got to start at day 1.
Problem is though, depending on how long it takes you to catch up, often stuff is just so outdated. Imagining being 50 episodes behind and then getting to this episode and we're talking about the Sydney Harbour 10K results or Bundoora. And it's this is just so much old news.
But it would make more sense in the first half an hour. Imagine just tuning in last week and it's this guy's having heart surgery. And it's just shit, he used to be out. What, he ran 2:17?
Yeah, well, imagine that's your first episode. Why is this guy on a running podcast?
We got to re-release the ones we want the most.
Oh, I'm going to do that. I was going to float that idea with you boys. I want to do best of interviews. So, say we release this on a Monday or whatever, just on the weekend, it's just this week we're re-releasing Sean Crichton. Or Dixon, stuff like that. Ross Murray, once a month, throw one out. Because the old ones you got to go back to Podbean and listen to. That will be the first best of we will release. Keep an eye on our social medias. We might do something cool for episode 300 where we want to know more about the listeners. Anyway, boys, that's done. Nearly 2 hours. See you next week.
See ya. Thanks to the Prepped Adelaide Marathon for sponsoring the show. The Prepped Adelaide Marathon is on again. Register now for the Prepped Marathon, Half Marathon, or the family-friendly Saucony 10K or 5K event. Seize your personal best with Prepped and get ready for the 45th Adelaide Marathon, Sunday, August 27. Register at adelaidemarathon.com.au.